closing keynote. It will be presented in English, so remember we have help with translation devices, both Spanish and English, and sign language in our streaming. This closing keynote will be presented in the hands and voice of Jeff Magioncalda. He's the president and CEO of Coursera. That's a global online learning platform that offers anyone, anywhere, access to online courses and degrees from leading universities. So please, let's welcome Mr. Jeff Magioncalda.
Buenos tardes. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be the final speaker today, and I really enjoyed that panel. I thought the summary was spot on. Flexibility, collaboration, globalization, all in the interests of the students, the learners, the future. What I'd like to do is to tell you a little bit about what we're seeing at Coursera, and it's a glimpse of what's to come, and I think a bit of it is a glimpse of the future that's already here today. But I'll let you be the judge of that. So I like to start with this slide, especially with an audience like this. I have been the CEO of Coursera for 6.5 years. It is always a privilege to be a part of an educator community. These are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They are what a collective group of countries decided in 2015 would be required to create prosperity for humanity and to protect the planet. And it includes economic opportunity, but you know, it also includes clean water, gender equality, life on land, reducing hunger and poverty. And the job of education is not only to create jobs. The job of education is to create a humanity that is the kind of humanity that we want to be a part of. And it is really the education of the full person that, of course, depends upon good opportunities for economic prosperity. Now, these are 17 different goals, but number 4 really stands out to me because education is the source of human progress. And one of the things I love so much about working with educators is being part of this movement to do what we can to affect not just SDG number 4, but to really have a major impact on all of the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, Coursera was started in 2012 by 2 professors who collaborated because they were teaching courses that more students at Stanford wanted to take than they had classroom for, and other students around the world wanted to have access to these classes, and so they put these courses on the internet. And more than 100,000 students from around the world came. And so they decided, let's collaborate with the mission of making education more widely accessible. The collaboration between 2 professors became a collaboration among a handful of universities. That collaboration among universities in the US turned into a broader collaboration among universities around the world. The collaboration among universities extended further to include a collaboration with industry. And so today, we are all coming together as an ecosystem, as a partnership, as a collaborative effort to provide universal access to world-class learning because learners around the world have an opportunity that we've never seen to be educated and have economic opportunities that were just not possible before. Today we serve 130 million learners.
Hoy enseñamos a 130.
And I think we're really just beginning. It's more important than ever to really think about what technology is going to do in terms of creating opportunities, in terms of creating threats. One of the threats is the threat that jobs will be severely impacted. And historically, when we've looked at the expected impact of technology on jobs, it was a disparate impact where this chart shows the likelihood that a job gets automated. The color of the bubble is the typical education level of people who hold those jobs. On the y-axis is the wages, the typical income that someone makes in that job. The size of the bubble is the number of people in the job. And what you can see are all these big red bubbles in the lower right. These are people with no formal education, making very low wages, doing jobs that are repetitive and more predictable, and most at risk of being automated because of technology. On the other hand, you can see those blue bubbles. These are people with college degrees. These are people making the most money. These are people who've been in the knowledge economy doing tasks that are less predictable, less automatable, and therefore less likely to be subject to vulnerability because of automation. And what almost every institution around the world is working on is thinking about how can we collectively provide access to the knowledge and the skills and the credentials to create more equal opportunity, especially among the most vulnerable populations. Now, I updated this slide in January after using ChatGPT, because a lot of these jobs that are knowledge jobs are now at risk of being heavily impacted by AI and technology as well. Turns out, after I updated the chart, a lot of research started coming out. This is research that was published in March of 2023 by the University of Pennsylvania and OpenAI. They studied ChatGPT-4 and found that about half of all job tasks held by half of people would likely be heavily impacted by this new technology. And the higher wage people who are more educated are more susceptible to being impacted by this kind of technology. So in 2016, the OECD did a study with the AI that was available in 2016 of who is most likely going to be impacted by this AI. The highest risk was people with no formal education. The lowest risk was people with master's degrees, PhDs, and college degrees. However, the technology with generative AI is not the same as the technology that existed in 2016. And the University of Pennsylvania research now finds that with GPT-4, the education levels most susceptible to impact and automation are those who hold college degrees. The least at risk of being disrupted because of ChatGPT are those with no formal education. All this technology is still here today, and what this means is that when you look at the total scope of technology that's available, everybody is now going to be heavily impacted by this. We are all in the same boat when it comes to the need to understand and adapt to the threats and the opportunities that we face. And I would argue that flexibility, collaboration, and globalization are absolutely key ingredients to a successful response. So it looks like, according to the World Economic Forum, a lot of retraining will happen. If you're in the business of education and lifelong training, I think there's a big opportunity to serve a whole lot of people who don't have access today and will be looking for new educational opportunities in order to find new career opportunities. And this is a chart by McKinsey. This is the percentage of job tasks of a given occupation that could be automated due to technology, the dark blue bars, that existed before ChatGPT, and the light blue bars is the percentage of job tasks that could be automated with ChatGPT. Here's what jumps off the page. Among all industries, among all occupations, the occupation that will be most impacted by GPT-4 is education. They estimate that 3 times more activities associated with providing post-secondary education and workforce training are likely to be automated because of this technology. And educators, once they figure out how their job's going to be different, is going to have to be figuring out how to teach everybody else how their jobs are going to be different. We are going to be facing a world of change, disruption, threats, and opportunities like we've never seen before. So the way that we see this working, we serve businesses, we serve governments, we serve universities and individuals around the world, is that first and foremost, AI is going to disrupt jobs. And the reason it's going to disrupt jobs is that basically every CEO and every CFO is going to say, we can do a better job creating new services to meet our customer needs, and we could probably increase the productivity of the teams who are doing it. So we need to embrace this technology to create better services at lower cost. What they're going to be looking for is a kind of education that is responsive to meeting the needs of consumers, businesses, and industries. And the kinds of educational changes that we see coming are far more personalized, interactive education. It's going to be a wonderful blessing. The ability for educators to create far more customized content in a far more collaborative way. I'll describe in a second. I'll show you a video of what that looks like. And another one that is really exciting is the ability to effectively eliminate the language barrier. And we're not there yet, but I'll show you a video that will give you some sense of the power of technology to break down language barriers and create more equal access to knowledge, no matter who the teacher is and no matter who the student is. At Coursera, and I'll show you a few things, but I don't want to advertise everything about Coursera, but we are building a lot of content to help people reskill in their current job. The job of a CEO, it's changing. I need to learn new skills. The job of a professor, it's changing. They need to learn new skills. The job of a computer scientist, UX designer, project manager, every job pretty much needs to be retooled because of this new technology. So we're building what we call the Generative AI Academy to help people in business learn how their jobs will be different. We also have something called the Career Academy. This is a set of industry micro-credentials that can reskill someone into a totally different career. Jobs will go away. New jobs will be created. But we're going to have to reskill and redeploy people to make sure that there's a bridge between what's being lost and what's being gained. We've developed something called Coach. I heard in the previous panel, Dr. Rama, spot on, by the way. These personalized assistants, this is sort of a chat GPT for your college course. It exists right now. We've already built it. It's called Coursera Coach. Learners around the world are using it. It basically is a version of ChatGPT that sits on top of all 6,000 courses on Coursera. When a student asks a question, it does not go to the internet to get the answer. It reads the entire course from that professor, and like any TA at your universities, gives the answer based on the content in the course. GPT does not have to hallucinate, and it does not have to look over the entire internet to find answers. If you give it a context that grounds it, the answer will be based on the grounding context that you provided. For us, we've provided university professors as the grounding context for this personalized teaching assistant. We built a product called Course Builder. I'll show you a little video of how this works. This allows any professor to say, I want to build a course for my students that teaches these things, and I want to have guest lecturers from around the world come in, and I want to choose which guest lecturers show up and talk about which topics. Oh, and by the way, this is still my course. I'm going to still teach these parts of the course. I'm going to have some professors from Europe and maybe a couple from industry teach these pieces. This exists right now today, and it's an amazing, amazing view of what collaborative teaching can really look like. The next thing I'll talk about is machine translation. The quality has gone way up in terms of translation. The cost has come way down. I'll show a view of what translation looks like, but we've now translated 2,000 courses into 7 languages. By the end of this year, we'll have translated 4,000 courses into 14 languages. And I expect by the end of next year, effectively, everything on Coursera will be in every major spoken language in the world. Now, there's a lot of change, and that creates risks, but also technology creates incredible opportunities. We saw, and these are, by the way, the 5 factors of social mobility as identified by the World Economic Forum. Technology, education, health, work, and institutions. Technology, we saw during the pandemic, redefines access to education so that anyone, anywhere, has access to learning that provides opportunities, no matter where you live, no matter your income, no matter the language that you speak. At the same time, what the pandemic did is it helped people see that jobs, especially digital jobs, could be done from anywhere. This has been incredible. You know, I have been to Bangkok, I've been to Jakarta, I've been to Dubai, I've been to Cairo, all in the last 6 months. The number of opportunities, job opportunities, here in the Dominican Republic, in Bogota, Colombia, in Lima, Peru, the number of job opportunities for smart people, smart young people who are learning the skills. There are employers in California, there are employers in Germany, there are employers all over the world looking for the best talent. Doesn't matter so much anymore where you live. And so the equal opportunity to education coupled with a more equal opportunity for jobs that can be done remotely, I think creates an obligation for us to be responsive to what's happening and to turn these threats into more of an opportunity. So I talk about remote work a little bit. If you look at the globalization of talent, this was a study that was just done last year, there has been a 300% increase in the remote workers cross borders from the Caribbean to North America. So employers, like Coursera and Google and Apple and all the big employers, we are seeing opportunities to hire talent that is just unbelievable. And that talent could be in Buenos Aires, it could be in Bogota, Mexico City, here in Santo Domingo. And so this is happening quickly. The students are seeing the opportunity, the employers are seeing the opportunity. Sometimes the school doesn't even see the opportunity. The students and the employers are figuring this out, and we're getting together, so it's going to be happening no matter what. And I think it's an exciting opportunity for all your students today and all the students that are coming in the upcoming years. Not only are there more opportunities, the rate of wage increase when people can do a job across borders often is multiples higher than what it might be in their own region. So, and there are definitely some negatives to this. I'm not saying this is all good, but clearly there are opportunities here that we haven't seen before. Now, how does Coursera come into it? We think of ourselves as an ecosystem, a platform for collaboration that started with these educators. We offer services directly to individuals. We also serve institutions. More than 3,500 businesses around the world use Coursera to upskill and reskill their employees. Governments use Coursera to provide workforce training programs and also provide digital transformation for their public services. And universities, and I'm honored to be invited here from UNICARIBE, Caribe, to talk about what we've been doing with our first partner in the Dominican Republic, but the ability to integrate a world of university and industry content into the curriculum of students anywhere in any university is just a very exciting prospect, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. Here's just a little snapshot of some of our partners on Coursera. Here are some of the partners in LATAM who've been working with Coursera for over a decade, many of them. But you can see these are leading universities who are not only innovating at a very high rate, but clearly these are the kinds of institutions that care about quality. And I believe, and we're already seeing it, that innovation is going to be a main ingredient of quality, because if a university is not innovating, the quality level will drop because the opportunities afforded must be seized upon. The list that came up yesterday, I said, hey, look at this. A lot of these are our partners. So I put a star next to the universities in the QS rankings in this region who are already working with Coursera. We are honored to have partners of this caliber. And also, I will just say, it's a global phenomenon. It's well underway, and it holds great promise. Here are some of the industry partners that we work with. And so when we think about Coursera, we really think about collaboration. Can we bring global universities together along with industry players around the world and fundamentally connect them and enable institutions to collaborate in order to serve individuals? We offer courses from our partners. We also offer hands-on projects. We have professional certificates. Many of our partners, like Los Andes in Bogota, they have full master's degrees in AI, master's in software engineering, fully online, fully on Coursera. You get a degree from that university. We did a study recently to look at industry micro-credentials. How do students perceive these and how do employers perceive these? Because universities are now building industry micro-credentials as career electives into their college curricula. What we see is students really want industry micro-credentials to be part of their curriculum because they think it's going to give them better hiring prospects. Well, what do employers think? Well, turns out employers really would love to hire a student who has an industry credential. They are more likely to stand out. They're more likely to be hired. I will also say, which is often not said, that when you ask an employer, would you rather have somebody who has an industry micro-credential, or would you rather have someone who has a college degree? Of course, it depends on the credential, and it depends on the degree. But overall, overwhelmingly, the college degree is the most valuable educational credential that exists today. And when people say, oh, the college degree is dead, here's what they're not really thinking about. The college degree is changing. Because once you put an industry micro-credential inside of a college degree, it's not about, are you going to hire someone from industry or hire someone with a university education? It's, would you rather have someone who is broadly educated and specifically skilled, or just one or the other? We don't have to choose. It's a hybrid world, and hybrid includes a blending of universities and industries teaching a more well-rounded, more job-ready graduate. These are some of the professional certificates that exist on Coursera today. They're typically 50 to 100 hours. They're job-aligned. Many of them have ACE credit recommendations. This is the American Council on Education. So accreditors are starting to recognize that these can be inserted into college degree programs to provide that hybrid education. Let's talk a little bit about AI. So I mentioned translations. We've seen great success. It used to cost us $13,000 to translate one course into one language. It now costs us about $20 to translate a course into a language, and we can do it, 500 times faster. So we're basically going to translate everything into almost everything. It's really, really exciting. So we built into Coursera, it's very simple, but there's just a little language feature at the top. You can basically just pick the language you want, and now you get all the subtitles, you get the transcripts, all the navigation, all the readings, all the assessments, everything will be in whatever language you want. And what we're seeing is a lot of students who want to learn the topic, and maybe they're trying to learn it in English, or maybe they're trying to learn it in Spanish, or maybe they'd like to learn it in a bilingual way. They'll listen to it in English, they'll see subtitles in Spanish, they'll watch the transcript in English, they'll ask coach a question in Spanish and get an answer in Spanish, and they can say to coach, can you say that in English, please? And it'll talk to you in English. So not only do you have this today, right now, so not only do you have a personalized tutor that can teach you any of 6,000 courses, it can also speak almost any language. And so it's just amazing how much accessibility there is now that is being afforded by this technology. I would like to show you a video, I hope that it plays, of something that's not existing in all the courses right now, but is technically feasible, which is why I'd like to see, use to see a glimpse of what's coming.
There is no greater path to opportunity than education. But millions of people worldwide face a language barrier that prevents them from accessing knowledge. Technology and AI will play a critical role in making the world's language more equally accessible. Coursera is excited to announce that we have translated over 2,000 courses into Spanish. Today we are translating written words, but soon the language barrier may disappear altogether. Soon, the best instructors in the world will be able to speak the languages of everyone in the world. Here's a glimpse of what that might look like.
En América Latina, donde la economía digital está en auge, el acceso al aprendizaje
In Latin
en línea
America,
será la
access
clave
online
para
training will be the
reducir la
key
brecha de
to bring the skills gap and diversifying the
Our mission is
workforce.
to make the world's greatest teachers accessible to learners, not only in LATAM, but everywhere around the world. Because learning is the source of human progress und hat die Kraft, unsere Welt von Krankheit zu Gesundheit, von Armut zu Wohlstand und von Konflikt zu Frieden zu verwandeln.
From conflict to peace, it has the power to transform our lives, for ourselves, for our families, for our communities. No matter who we are, learning empowers us to change, grow, and redefine what is possible. That's why the best education is access, is a prize. That's why Coursera is here. To bring this, the best learning, so that anyone, anywhere, has the power to transform their lives through learning.
So my daughter speaks fluent Spanish, and she hates that video. She says, Dad, you are a poser. Why don't you put in the hard work and actually learn 7 different languages? And I said, honey, I wish I could. But at least I can help communicate and show what I care about and communicate more clearly. But this is it's possible today, clearly, but we just haven't done this with all the courses. But this is a glimpse of what might be coming. Now I'd like to show you, and we're running up on time, but I can show you another video here on what we call Course Builder. This is just a pilot, so this is it's a working product, but it's not yet fully released to all of our educator partners. But in particular, when we work with Coursera for Campus, professors are saying, I don't want to just take someone else's course and have them teach my students. I want to build a course using pieces of other courses like I do with textbooks. I'll put a chapter here, a chapter here. I'll do a lot of the syllabus myself, and I will be the person that instructs my students. Course Builder is a digital version of a syllabus that's basically put together from textbooks, except instead of using textbooks, we use pieces of online courses. Here is an example of what Course Builder, the prototype, is looking like.
Te presento a Jenny. Ella
I present
desea
Jenny.
que sus
She wants
estudiantes
her
desarrollen
students
habilidades de
to develop
liderazgo.
leadership abilities.
Ella cuenta con su propio
She has
contenido
her
para
own
comenzar
content
y
to
sabe
begin.
que Coursera puede tomar este
She knows
contenido
Coursera can
y
take this
construir un
content
curso
and
privado
build
y
a
estimulante
private
en tan
course
solo
that's
unos clics.
stimulating in a few
Así es
clicks.
como le estamos ayudando
That's
a
how
Jenny.
we're helping Jenny.
Ella puede construir su
She
curso
can build her
manualmente
course
o ahorrar
manually
tiempo
or
obteniendo
saving
asistencia.
time and getting
La
assistance.
fácil herramienta de
The
autoría
easy
de
tool
Coursera
of
ayuda a
authorship
Jenny
in
a
Coursera
desarrollar
can
el
help Jenny
contenido.
to develop the
Puede indicar
content.
de qué se trata
They
el
can
curso y
indicate
las
what the
habilidades
course
que
is
desea
about,
que
the
los
skills
estudiantes
they
adquieran.
want the
Por
students to
ejemplo,
acquire. For
un curso de
example,
liderazgo que
leadership
abarque
course that
habilidades
can
como
encompass skills like
comunicación, construcción de
communication,
equipos e
team
inclusión.
building, and inclusion.
Además de su contenido,
Aside from its
Jenny
content,
también
Jenny
busca incluir
is also
videos de
looking to
otras
include videos
instituciones
from other participating
participantes para
institutions
complementar
to
su curso
complement
privado
her
y
private
hacerlo más
course and
interesante
make
y
it more
relevante
interesting
para
and
sus
relevant for her
estudiantes.
students.
Puede agregar sus
She can
archivos como
add
material de
files
origen,
as
como
original,
grabaciones de conferencias
like
anteriores,
recordings of
sesiones de
previous
capacitación o
conferences, training
documentos
sessions,
escritos como
or
un
written
plan de
documents
estudios o
like
una
a study
lista de
plan
habilidades.
or a list of
Ahora,
skills.
Jenny
Now,
está lista
Jenny
para
is
generar la
ready to
primera
generate
versión del
the first
curso.
version of the course.
Coursera
Coursera
analizará sus
will
aportes
analyze
y
her
creará la
contributions and will
estructura del
create
curso.
the course structure,
Generará contenido
will
basado en los
generate
documentos
content
que
based on the
cargó.
documents
Recomendará
uploaded, will
contenido
recommend
existente de
existing
Coursera para
content in
incluir
Coursera
y
to include,
aplicará las
and will
mejores
apply the
prácticas de
best
pedagogía.
pedagogical
Mediante la fácil
practices.
herramienta de
Through the
autoría,
easy
se
authorship
creó una
tool,
primera
we created
versión
an
del curso
initial
para Jenny basada
course
en su dato de
version
entrada
based on
y
the
ahora puede
entry documents.
revisar y
Now she
editar
can
el
review
contenido.
and edit the
Hay algunos
content.
módulos,
Add
algunos videos que
modules,
cargó, los
videos
cuales
that
se
she
dividieron en
uploaded
clips
were
más
divided in
cortos,
shorter clips
junto con videos de
together
otros
with videos
actores,
of other parties.
y una lectura y un
And
examen generados automáticamente.
automatically
Echémosle un
automatically
vistazo al primer
generated
video.
tests. Let's look at the first video.
Este es un fragmento
This
que
is a
corresponde
fragment that
solo a la
corresponds
introducción de la
only the
carga original
introduction
de
of the
Jenny.
original
El
upload.
avance del video
The
incluye un resumen
video
generado
includes a generated,
automáticamente a partir
automatically
del guión
generated
y
summary through the
resalta los
script
puntos
and
claves
highlights
de
the
cada
key
segmento
points
del
of each
video.
segment of the
Jenny puede
video.
ajustar cómo
Jenny
se
can
recortó el
adjust
video y
how
el
the video
resumen.
was cut and the
También
summary.
puede editar
She
la
can also
traducción
edit
generada
the
y las
generated
habilidades
translation
etiquetadas en
and
este
the
video.
skills in the video.
Puede ver los videos
She
de
can look
otras
at the videos
instituciones
of other
participantes que
participating
se
institutions that were
sugirieron para agregar
suggested
al curso.
to add to the
Este se
course.
ve interesante.
This one looks
Jenny
interesting.
puede ver el
So
avance
Jenny
del
can
video,
look the
leer el
preview of the
resumen o
video,
saltar a los
read the
segmentos
summary,
destacados del
or
video
go to the
para hacerse
highlighted
una
segments
idea
of the video
rápida de él.
to get a fast idea of what it's about.
También puede explorar
Also,
otras
she can
opciones
explore
de videos
other video
indicándole a
options,
Coursera lo que está
indicating
buscando,
Coursera what
como
she's looking
encontrar
for,
los videos
like
más
finding the
populares
most
sobre el
popular
módulo
videos
1.
on Module 1.
Se sugirieron otros 3 videos.
Other 3 videos were
Después de verlos,
suggested. After
Jenny
looking at
puede
them,
decidir
Jenny can
cuáles
decide
usar para
which to use
complementar
to
su curso.
complement her course.
Se generó automáticamente una lectura
A
con un
reading
glosario de palabras
was
claves
generated with a
basadas en el
glossary of
contenido
keywords
del
based
módulo.
on the content.
También se generó
Also,
automáticamente un
automatically
examen basado en los
generated a
guiones de los
test
videos
based on the script
cargados
and
y
videos
otro
uploaded
contenido en el
and
módulo,
other
lo
content
cual
in the
es genial,
module, which is
porque le habría
great
llevado mucho
because it
tiempo
would have
crear
taken
el
a long
examen
time to
desde
create
cero.
the
Jenny
test from
puede agregar
scratch.
más
Jenny
preguntas
can
para
add more
crear más
questions to create
variabilidad.
more variability.
Una vez que Jenny
Once
está
Jenny
lista
is
para lanzar
ready
el
to
curso,
launch the course,
puede revisar el
she
nombre
can
del
review the
curso,
name of
la
the course
descripción, las
description,
etiquetas de
the
habilidades y el logotipo
skills,
generado
and the
automáticamente.
logo that was automatically
Ahora el
generated.
curso privado
Now,
de Jenny
Jenny's
está en
private
vivo
course
y
is
los
live,
estudiantes de su
and the
organización
students
están en
on her
camino a
organizations are
desarrollar
on the
sus
way to
habilidades de
develop
liderazgo.
their leadership
Jenny no
skills.
puede creer
Jenny
lo fácil que fue
cannot
para
believe how
ella
easy it was for
crear un
her
curso
to create a
privado en
private
Coursera.
course in Coursera.
Nuestra visión
Our
es agilizar
vision
la creación
is
de
to
cursos
streamline,
personalizados para
customize the
educadores y
co-creation
clientes
for
como
educators
Jenny,
and clients
utilizando
such
una
as
combinación de
Jenny, using a
contenido para
combination of
satisfacer las
content
necesidades
to
únicas de los
satisfy
estudiantes.
the unique needs of students.
A glimpse of what we're working on now. It's live. We're actually testing it with universities. It's been an honor to be here. It's an honor to have partners like UNICARIBE that we're working with. And I really have to kind of go back to a first breakfast I had. When I first started at Coursera in November of 2017, I had breakfast with Pablo Nava, who was the rector of UNICARIBE. And he said, Jeff, the next great revolution in higher education is collaboration. And with that, he at UNICARIBE and then Tec de Monterrey and then Católica de Chile, they created what they call La Triada, where they started sharing courses on Coursera. It was the first example in the world that I know of that universities started collaborating on Coursera to better serve their learners. And that was in 2017. And so it's wonderful to be back in Latin America where the innovation began, where collaboration is a number one, not just priority, but spirit in the community. And we hope to be a part of that community and to partner with you to help navigate this incredible new world of change. Thank you very much.